Director Walsh.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yes, so I brought this forward today. Just prepping for the summertime. Want to get contracts in place for the operation of the zip line, so we have budgeted funding this year for the operation with a third party for French Fork Cove, the Over the Cove zip line. So I have been in discussions with the named company that has operated the zip line for the past 5 years. They are willing to operate again this upcoming season for the summer and fall based off the information in the management report at the same cost as last year, so no increase. Cost will remain the same, and it is expected that the cost of operating will be within the budget. So I just want to bring this to council to get the blessing to move forward with the contract, hopefully with the number company named in the management report for the upcoming season.
Thanks, Director Walsh. So I'll open the floor for questions or comments from members of council.
Is there any, Your Worship, Director Walsh, do we have to have new insurance on the line, or they got to be tested again this year?
Through the chair to Councillor King, so we did have inspection done in fall of 2023, which is good for a year. So when inspection is completed, we'll probably inspect again in 2024. Equipment ordered, inspection went over well. Insurance will have to they have to renew annually as well, and as part of the agreement, we pay half of the insurance. So they'll carry their own with the city named insured.
Director Walsh, just a couple of questions from me, and I know that we've tried over the last number of years. We tried opening early. We were open to that, and it just didn't seem viable. Last year we clawed that back, which I think was the right decision. I see here that there was in the fall, now we also just do the weekends from Labor Day till Thanksgiving. There was one weekend when it was washed out, and I guess I just wonder, when in the fall, if we don't open at all for a weekend, do we have any revenue or any savings there, like if they don't operate?
Through the chair to the chair. So there is no, to my understanding, there is no clause in there in regards to closures. Closures are technically based off of weather. We could have times where, depending on winds and operation of the line, the staff is in place and might be there for an hour out of a 7-hour day. But right now in the contract, I do not believe we have anything that stops that from happening. Very weather related. Something that we may be able to discuss, but it could be challenging with that piece. As for they schedule staff and book everything, and they have summer grants on students, so a lot of the when there is a closure, unfortunately, they're not working as well, and they still got to pay their staff based off some of the information that I would gather. But
that does make sense, by the way, to me in the context of summer. But I guess I'm wondering, this was a whole weekend, and so which wouldn't be the summer staff, and I'm just wondering maybe if even we could have a discussion with them as it relates to the weekends in the fall. Like if on a Friday it looks like the whole thing's going to be a wash, could we just collectively cancel it? And it would be worth asking the question in my mind.
That's definitely something that I can discuss with the operator.
Yeah. And the other thing I wanted to bring up tonight, and these things are never fun to bring up, but being practical, is in the report it mentions that the price for the adults is $20 and $15 for children and seniors, and that it hasn't changed in the past years. I don't think it's actually changed at all since we opened the zip line in 2017, sorry. And I guess I'd just like to submit for consideration that we consider increasing the price at least for this, the regular adult price from $20 to $25. We know that it's tough for everybody, but our costs have gone up substantively to operate as well, and we keep the revenue. So, children and seniors, I'd be okay with leaving it, but I feel like if we raise the adult price from 20 to 25, which I don't think would really be that prohibitive to people, that could raise us a few extra $1,000 in revenue. And I guess I don't know if, how to properly make that consideration. Maybe it's a separate motion, but I do feel like it's more than fair to raise it $5 for the first time since it's opened, and given the increase in cost that we have on operating it. And by the way, these prices are still would be at 25, the lowest by a significant margin of other zip lines in the Maritimes. So I don't know, Director Walsh, if you had any thought on that.
It is something definitely that we have discussed and have looked at. A lot of our fees that we have for our recreational programming throughout the city are lower compared to other communities as well, and we will be doing a fee review. But in the line to the zip line, it is something that I think could be considered, but I do believe it would, maybe the manager would be able to, correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe it would take a motion to council to be able to make that change to the rate.
Yeah, it would be a separate management report, separate, over the next month or so, but that could be looked at, and we would bring a recommendation from the director and from staff as to the viability and consequences of that, or expected consequences. It's not a problem.
Yeah, I would love to have a report back on that, because I do think it's a practical step to make at this time, and we're always trying to squeeze every dollar, but we're also looking for where we can increase those revenue streams as well, and to me this is an opportunity that at least worth looking at this time. Councillor Duplessis?
I think just further to that, it seems like we have all the right data to be able to show us kind of what that would look like in terms of additional revenue, and maybe even playing with a couple options in terms of youth and seniors and adults. And just want to kind of give props on the amount of data that is provided. And if we were, it's nice to see that we do it on the zip line. It'd be nice to see it all over the place. But we get lots of data on the zip line, which is great. And then I was noting too in the daily averages, like our Fridays are significantly slower, which strikes me as odd, compared to our Mondays, about 50% slower. So I think there's kind of some assumptions that we're making. And so I'd be curious just to see almost a fee review like the mayor is suggesting on how to make this optimal.
Any, like the revenues and fees wouldn't impact the agreement with the potential proponent, right? So the way that it sort of reads on paper is that those are all part of that contract, but really it's not. So it wouldn't slow down the ability to lock in a renewed contract with the proponent either. So, okay. Councillor Summers?
Just, I don't know if this will be a future conversation or not, but just to be devil's advocate, I guess, I would wholeheartedly disagree with any potential increase. Zipline was put in as a tourist attraction. To my knowledge, it was never intended to be a huge revenue maker for the city. $20 is a nice flat round figure that people can take a family of 5 and pay $100, and I know you're saying it's a nominal amount, and sure, that's only $5 more, but I think the ultimate impact of that would be more people saying, the heck with the zip line, I'm not going to bother to go at all, and I'd rather have them going down there to pay $20 a shot and still keeping the numbers. I mean, there was 3,300 people went across it last year. That's not too bad. I wouldn't want to rub the public the wrong way by saying, hey, we need to generate some more revenue, and we're going to increase the fees. And I get it, where you're coming from, that it's costing us more to run it. But from day one, when we put that thing in there, it was to attract tourists to come to our city, not so much about how much money we could make once they go across the zip line. So if that conversation comes up, I'll probably reiterate everything I just said there right now. Thanks.
Thanks, Councillor. Sometimes, disagreement is a healthy part of our process. And I think, to the Councillor Duplessis' point is, I would hope that part of that review or analysis that staff will do would include assessing what are the current fees in some of our comparables, like have they gone up since when we did that original exercise. And to note it, to Councillor Summers' point, and I think we could all celebrate that this has been a successful tourism driving initiative. And when we look at the numbers, well over 2/3 of the folks using it are from outside of our city. And so that's great, and I could submit that would mean that the extra money isn't coming from our citizens' pockets either. But regardless, I guess, do we need a motion, Mr. Manager, to initiate the fee review, or no? Okay, so that will come back separate from the contract that's on the item. Okay, great. So as it relates to a contract, I guess, sorry, I'm just searching. Is there I know we'd asked if there could be wiggle room for part of the contract to be if a weekend is canceled in the fall, could we have any potential savings there? I know probably we need a motion to send it up, but I don't want to delay anything, so we could send it up, but if that question is answered in a revised management report when it comes back, is that possible? Okay, so then I'll ask for a motion to send this up as it relates to the contract with the proponent. Okay, Deputy Mayor Quinn, seconded by Councillor Johnston on the question. All those in favor?